Greetings and good morning from one of the most historical, unique, small little towns in this state of South Carolina. And like I mentioned before, there are so many unique, important historical places in not only South Carolina, of all this part of the southeastern United States, but in this town of Branchville, which is right in the middle of town. And this is the train depot, which is what makes this town so special, because the first train junction in the world, more so than in America, was right here. Because in the 1830s, the first train scheduled for passengers went from Charleston, which is, about an hour and a half from here, to here, and went all the way up north to outside of Augusta, Georgia. Was here in Branchville, South Carolina. Now, go back in that time in the 1830s, we're so used to different environments here. Like, there's always noise. There's things that move fast. But back then, imagine this. Nothing made much noise, really. Nothing went fast except maybe a fast little quarter horse for maybe a couple hundred yards. But then when these trains started, that was a lot of noise that they weren't used to. Not only that, you had a big piece of machinery, this big steam engine that went up to 25 miles an hour. We're so used to stuff like that now, but I just think it's so unique that these small little towns and small little towns all over America were just so quiet and peaceful. But they were set up for progress, and that's what Branchville is here. But anyway, so in the 1840, here in Branchville, and I'll turn this around again, is they set up the first spur that left Branchville that went to Columbia, and then that train went all the way up to Knoxville, Tennessee. So this small little town here in pretty much the middle part of the state was the first community in the darn world that had a train junction. And that's what's so cool about these small little places all through South Carolina. And here's a placard that they have right here. As you can see, the South Carolina Canal and Railroad Company. It's the original track location. As you can see, began the first successful scheduled steam railroad service in America. Christmas Day, December 25th, 1830. And by 1833, it's 136 miles from Charleston to Hamburg, which is just outside of Augusta, Georgia. And again, what a neat little place this is. And I'm going to and they have a train museum here. I don't know if it's open yet, but I'd like to kind of go through it. But I'm going to turn this around so you can see it. This is kind of a replica of the old train depot and the train, what am I trying to say? The train station here in Branchville. And another thing that was pretty cool that I did some studying before I came here is that's how everything moved in this country. Obviously, you had horses and then stagecoaches, but then rail and trains. And in the museum that I read, 3 presidents came through here on the way to the South, and they stopped here because this is the train junction here. And the trains were so different. They were steam trains. They ran on coal and water. And just really, really cool. So let me kind of keep moving around here and just see what I can see and see what else we can discover. I am standing right outside the Branchville Railroad Museum, and I've seen it online, but I wanted to come in and see some of the unique items in this. And in here, I think I'm going to meet a Mr. Tony. He's going to kind of explain to us what this is, how it works. And here's Mr. Tony right now.
How's it going? Okay, you are now in the world's oldest railroad junction.
Pretty cool.
It used to run basically between Charleston,
Right.
and Columbia, if I remember correctly. But you had all these other farmers that all over the place that needed to get their crops down that way towards Charleston or
Got it.
further east or further west.
Uh-huh.
So they built a second line because the first one was this one that ran out in front of the place.
Yeah, I saw
that's
that.
covered up. Okay,
Yeah. That was the
main
first line, the main line.
That was the main line at that
Jeez.
time.
Very cool.
And we've had 4 sitting presidents actually eat here next door.
Isn't that something? Now,
The
how
only
did that,
one that- the
how
only
did that
one-
come about, Tony? That's so
Okay,
cool.
the only one that physically did not do it was Franklin Roosevelt because of the polio, but they brought his food out to his railroad car.
Isn't that something?
And you've had McKinley, Roosevelt, and Taft physically walk inside and eat here.
I love it.
And
I love it.
all the wood and everything here is original from the 1800s.
Gosh,
And
isn't that something?
now you also got to remember, during that time, segregation was in. This used to be the black entrance. They
I'll be
would come
darned.
in, they had to come in because the main entrance was out the other way. We'll show you that.
Okay.
Out facing 78. Well,
Gotcha.
they came in, and none of these displays were here, obviously, but this was their window. They came up and they purchased their
It's
tickets
just hard to
go wherever
fathom
they
that.
wanted
Yeah,
to.
just hard to fathom. But you
It-
know,
it really
also,
is.
I would think, and of course we're here now in the museum, but during it was just a busy hub. I'm
Oh,
sure.
yeah, I mean, because you had folks going from here all over the place, because once you started going west, well, you went into Atlanta, and from there, you were just wide open to go anywhere, across the country.
That's amazing. Wow.
And these set of books here, my father-in-law got, they are, if you know anybody in South Carolina that served in the military during World War II, their names are in here.
Wow. Isn't that something?
And he was always proud to grab his book.
And show his name.
Oh, in a heartbeat. He was never afraid to do that. Let's see, where are you?
Isn't that something?
Norris, come on.
And that was
Right here.
John Norse, correct?
Johnny Norris, let's
Okay.
see. Is this, nope, that's the wrong one. Branchville, right here. That was his, and he would show it. We've had folks come here and
Gosh.
literally break down crying for the fact that they could never find any material for their family members that served
Sure,
and everything. And
yeah.
when we told them that, they were like, well, they give a name and look and take pictures, and it was like amazing.
And that's something. That's so cool.
A lot of these, the tools and all this stuff are before they started doing everything, modern.
Right.
Everything
Right.
was done by hand. You had the scrapers and everything for the wood and everything. You got all
What they
these-
did and what they needed to do and how they did it. Look at that.
These 2 jacks here can lift up a railroad car and everything. And this bad boy, I kept asking him, for a while what this did. And he said, "You'll figure it out." And I finally, after like about, several months, came to the conclusion it had to be some type of lever or something. But as
Yeah.
big and heavy as it was,
Maybe a switch, maybe? How about
switch
that?
tracks.
How about that?
This was before they had, everything automated and everything, and you could hit a button and
They
it would switch tracks for you.
Had to do it by
Somebody had
hand.
to stop the train, literally get out and get there.
Very cool.
Now, this is a picture of old Main Street, which is a whole,
1907.
which is a whole lot different than what it looks like today.
God, isn't that the truth? Jeez, man. But this was the original, I guess, train depot is what you call it,
Yes,
right?
sir. It was a train depot, and here, this map dates back to 1775.
1775.
And this was just after, if I remember correctly, him saying they made South Carolina and North Carolina had made a trade
Yeah.
for more land. Because
Right.
North Carolina really at that point did not have any deep water entries for ships and everything.
I'll be darned.
So they gave up the Outer Banks and all this stuff to them, and
Right.
we got more land up this way. All this here is just woods and forest and everything, and this is actually the Indian Nation up here.
I'll be darned. I tell you what's amazing also, Tony, this is the 1700s.
Yes, sir.
How they mapped that. I mean, they couldn't, no satellites.
No.
I mean, they had very simple transoms, but
And
it's
we've
amazing.
had folks
Yeah.
here that would look at the map, especially from North Carolina. They would look and go, wait a minute. these names aren't correct, and this county isn't this, and this is where
Yeah,
this county
yeah.
and this city. And I said, I had to point to the map and say, this was from back here. And
Golly.
remember, the British were in charge of everything.
Yeah,
so
we're
if
British
for
colony.
whatever reason
Yeah.
you ticked them off, your name was gone, and they changed it to somebody that was in favor.
They were supportive of them or the crown. Isn't that
That is
amazing?
correct.
Wow.
This phone, if you hooked it up today, actually works, and we have the copy of that at our house.
Is that neat? Is that cool?
Before, they had the radio communications and everything. If
Right.
somebody called, well, they had to have their own code because there's nowhere to dial. So the number here was one long, one short. So it sounded like, and they knew that was for Branchville. They would pick up and yes, and they
Call
would
for
write down.
Branchville. Isn't that cool? Get out. I love this stuff. And earlier, and everything worked. Everything worked.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
And my father-in-law's old uniform and everything, we were
How about that?
going to move it and everything, and I decided, you know what? He needed to be there. And this is him on the left,
Right.
and one of his closest friends.
And that was Johnny Norris, was it? And
Yes,
he
sir.
just passed on, right?
Yes, sir.
God bless him.
Oh, man.
God bless him.
And
Well,
this was his passion. This was it. I mean,
Oh,
he
that's
could tell
cool.
you things about this museum that I don't even come close to knowing.
I bet.
And I've studied, a lot of the stuff that he kept telling me.
Yep.
That's like these,
Those look like one on a telephone or
yes,
electric
and
line.
what they,
Yeah.
and what he did was, him and my late mother-in-law also, they took a bunch of these and they put them into the oven.
No kidding.
Out of the oven, they dunked them into water to make it the crystallized thing, and he
And that's
made the lamp out of them.
Isn't that
And you
cool?
don't know how many folks have come in and said, we used to have these, and I used to put them up on a post or something and shoot them with my BB gun.
yeah.
And now they wish they had them, because
Yeah.
to give you an idea of how old these bad boys are, here you go. February 12th, 1884.
1884.
Yes, sir, 1884.
Isn't that something? Golly day. Well, Tony, this is so cool. I mean, this is really neat. Thank you for showing me
My
through this.
pleasure.
And it's a part of.
This is what we do. I mean,
It's
this
a
is
part
what
of
he
history.
did, and we're not letting that
Yeah.
whole die down. I mean,
Well, that's so
people
cool.
really need to see what is here.
Well, let me go ahead and move on. So I'm going to come over here in the light, Tony, so we can
Okay.
see each other. And I want to say goodbye. And anyway, thank you, Tony, for showing us this
was
special
my
part
pleasure.
of South Carolina history.
Yes, it is.
You take care. Have a wonderful Christmas.
You also.
Okay.
And y'all out there, Merry Christmas to y'all.
Ha! Thank you, Tony. Okay, I'll just stop this.